Two recently qualified World Championship teams are about to commence battle. They want to go further, they want to make that main event, but James, some of their regional compatriots are watching this one of interest as well.
Oh, certainly. They are glued to the edge of their seat. Ground Zero still has a chance to make it in if Power can make the run. Same for Tainted Minds. If Rule 1 can make a run of their own, there's still hope for them as well. And so now all people are, even version 1 watching this, no matter how this goes, version 1's still gonna have to wait to see how the cookie crumbles. But there is a lot of regional implications with this one.
All over the place. It's also going to be an interesting battle on the pitch as well if you take the stats out of it. We have a real contrast in playstyles right here. Rule 1, controlling, almost defensive, will squeeze the life out of you. But Power, we saw it earlier, James, pure pace, pure aggression.
Oh, certainly. The shots from Fever back in Game 3 in the Ground Zero series, he had an off his own back wall flip reset goal. And that was just one of the two amazing goals that he had. Fever went lights out. Gibbs also hyped up Amphis, one of the more mechanical players out of the region, but you also cannot forget about Torsos. Torsos has been around for so long, was a part of that legendary OCE team that finished top 6, I believe it was the Chiefs, and he was also a part of Alpha Sydney, who are the shining star of OCE, so if anyone can do it as well, it is Torsos.
A legendary player is Torsos, and his team are having to do some defending early doors, as expected. Rule 1, the favorites here, unless you ask Gibbs. Going to be doing some work in attack. I mean, you look at Kalias, the amount of goals he's got over there in the MENA region, almost elevating above his twin brother in Ruas. So many storylines congregating together right now, but I love the way Power play. It's a little bit scrappy, but it's certainly entertaining. That pass goes to nowhere, and Ruas air dribbles away.
You can tell both teams feeling each other out. There's a good save from Amphis Ruas. He was the player who stopped the hot streak of Zen in his 1v1 streak. Ruas, so much talent. This Rule 1 team, you cannot doubt their talent, but there's a certain amount of grit and determination that we've seen out of OCE that you can just never count them out.
Rule 1 finally qualifying for that first major they were so desperate for after watching Falcons claim all the plaudits pretty much at the start of the Open era. Falcons this season have had 2 top 12 finishes, while Rule 1 have already matched that. This is to do just that little bit better and really cement their claim as the takeover team in Middle East and North Africa. Ruas pushes that one to the side. Ostan's calling himself onto the ball, trying to charge down Fever and manages to. Tosses out wide. It's a surprisingly slow and steady game 1.
So far, but both teams have players that can pop off. You give them the boost in the space, and they'll make that solo play. Right now, we see Torsos in the air going for a flip reset. Potentially, no, just tries to tip it down. Fever will take over. Boston doesn't get the most out of that ball. This will actually open the door a bit here for Torsos, who gets a waterfall, almost gets the rebound. You see a double commit on the goal line. That was the best chance yet, and it was for Power.
They'll keep on going though. Fever, flip reset! Even Ruas, the genius, can't save it.
You're gonna call that a flip reset?
Let's
he gets it right here, but
see.
I mean, does he? I don't think he even hit it after that.
It was a flip flop, is what we'll call it.
No, I mean, that was anything but a flop. It ended up going in. But you know what? Power, they will take it. A strong start for them. And they almost had a goal just a little bit before that, but now you see a bump bailed out. I mean, I did not catch who that was on that back line, but that was a really nice cover because you saw the bump come through.
Confidence from Power as well. The fake kickoff straight after taking the lead in game 1. They're opening up their box of tricks, remember. Ground Zero in this arena right now. I can actually see them in front of me. I'm being waved at by them, hello. Watching this one, praying that Power can do the unthinkable. Top 6 they have to get in order for Ground Zero to join us in Düsseldorf. Rule 1 trying to make sure that doesn't happen. Here's Mossad, he's going to sneak it in. Almost Fever saves it. Another one to save comes in.
Unreal from Fever. Fever getting to the play just in time, and now a breakout. Amphis will launch it towards net, but Monson was there.
Fever in the corner, up against Mossad. Power are just slowing the game down expertly at the moment. Amphis into the side, and then there's the prod forward. They can turn this one into an attack. Fever misses. Mossad can try and tee up a teammate, but it's just a Torsos. There's no one there for Rule 1. They have boost in reserves, not doing much with it at the moment.
Gotta be careful though with these 1-goal leads and disappear quickly. But we have not really seen much from Rule 1. They've been quite quiet. The playing boom ball, not really keeping possession, not really playing with a lot of confidence. We do see some individual play here from Rawas. Rawas going for the backboard pass, but the defense from Power still holding on. Another weak shot. Will be an easy save there for Fever. Fever has been key on the back line. Now a pre-jump shot, rebound out in front of net, and that's swept off the line by Fever.
All comes from a Ruas dribble, though. One of the best 1v1ers in the world. Like a slithering snake when he has the ball on the floor, through the grass. Power have to be careful, but this one's to the sky. Here's Kalias in the corner. Rule 1 ending the first game on top, as you'd expect. Mosan, there's a pass in the center if he can find it, but he goes into the corner. Fever charges him down, and he keeps the play alive for Power. Every second that ticks by is closer for Power opening up this game, but it does stay high.
Fever trying to get this out, kept alive, but it touches the ground, and Power take game 1. And I mean, you can see the confidence. They're not getting overly hyped about it, because I think, along with Gibbs, you know, this is a Power team led by Torsos, who has been in this situation before. I mean, some people will call him the Garrett G and NRG Slayer. He's a player who's used to being the underdog and used to performing in those situations, and Power as a whole just stepped up. I think Fever was spectacular that game, getting the only goal off his flip-flop reset.
We've coined that now, have we? That's official.
and also his save on the back line. But Amphis was so key in keeping that pressure on. However, you saw that Power was happy to just soak in that pressure.
I mean, you talk about the difference in styles that Power showed there. They won it and they were very calm and collected. They weren't overdoing things. Very different to their series earlier against Ground Zero, where every goal, every bump, they were standing up going, come on, you know? But it's about knowing how to deal with each situation. And against Rule 1, you don't want to be sucked into a game where you rush at things.
No, I mean, Rule 1, the last thing you want to do is panic, and you double commit and leave them space, or get too conservative where you're clinging on the backboard and you let them approach. Because if you give players of this caliber on Rule 1 space, they are going to punish you. We even saw a little bit of a glimpse with Rawas on that dribble play. If you remember that, he was cutting and he was weaving through the defense. So if you give him more space, you give him the opportunity, he'll bite you eventually.
Well, Rule 1 have been put under a little bit of pressure so far in this event. Even at the start, it was against Crew. Went to an OT in 3 of the 4 games. They won a couple of them, but they did lose game 2. So, you know, it sounds silly to say, but they've had the experience of losing games, coming back to win, which in this environment, you know, every little bit of something else you learn helps.
Oh, no doubt about it. You talk about the player with the most experience out there is definitely Torsos. We'll see if Torsos helps bring some confidence and stability to this Power team, and how Power reacts to having this 1-goal lead. Flip reset from Fever rather.
You mixed them.
I know. They're both so good out there on the field, man.
I almost did that a lot of times when they were playing each other. I don't blame you. Pretty similar. Here is Ruas around the back of his own goal. Clears up against Fever. Fever, does he let Torsos on? We've seen a fake plenty of times so far at this event. It seems to be the meta play, faking the aerial, letting a teammate come in. Genji winning out earlier on against SSG. That was a huge weapon that they had. There's one. Fever to the left. Torsos is coming in.
Very
risky to greatness, but not quite there.
I like the play on the fake there, leaving that, but with Torsos jumping after that as well, they went all in, but they've recovered. And I think that shows you the confidence of Power to be able to go for plays like that and really be ultra aggressive. And they open themselves up to a counterattack, but you know, I love that confidence, and already they're having more power. The flick, the rebound, excellent save from Rawas. But Power are coming close to striking once more.
Yeah, you can't expect that Rule 1 can keep getting away with this, overplaying in front of their own goal. Power sniffing out those opportunities, not quite getting it in just yet, but again, they'll be happy with how this second game is going. Even if the ball is camped in their corner right now, Kalia's trying to do something with it, but he's got no momentum. Goes back to Mosan. Ruas winding something up to the backboard with him, but the play's going to die.
And it's so important on those plays, if you are not first to the ball, to at least get the bump. We've seen that quite a bit. That is really important, especially if you are a little bit outpaced. Always at least try to get that bump. You see Ruas dodging it there, and look at the damage he might do. Had a double tap opening. Gets it over to Clears. Now we're starting to see possession here. The infield pass, the shot was going top shelf. but Amphis jumped in the way.
Another massive save, this time from Power. The attacks continue.
Uh-oh.
Amphis almost fakes out Torsos. Thankfully for Torsos, it had the composure to stay grounded and can just wait. Get the ball away, tee up Amphis. Now his Fever to the backboard with him. Torsos coming in, Ruas saves yet again.
Oh, and Ruas, you wonder if he was smoke screened a little bit or if he was able to see around it. All around, though, that was an excellent effort. Now a double tap ball!
Oh!
And it's saved off to the side. Ruas with a perfectly timed backflip shuts down that opportunity.
How much longer can this goal line heroics last? Fever's coming in, he's gonna shoot off the backboard!
And it's gone!
And he's got it this time! Power take the lead again!
And while you look at this, there was the smoke screen. Ruas actually inches forward to try to see. Is a bit panicked and jumps. And during that time where he's trying to reposition in net, you see Fever go for that low altitude double tap and get that bounce shot far post. And the key part was far post. He knew exactly where he needed to put it. It was excellent mechanics. And really, Fever is starting to stand out as the MVP for Power, even in the last series against Ground Zero. Now here against Rule 1. It's looking phenomenal.
Starting to boss the stage right now at Power. Another fake kickoff comes in against 1v1 greatness. Middle Eastern teams, they're the one trying new things. So
hold on.
Squeezes it in, no way, that's
off
gonna
the
go wide
post.
just. Amphis, he had the call to take his time. I think he had a bit less than he thought.
Of course it's off the post. That one has to sting for Rule 1. You're hoping, oh, maybe I'll get lucky off that pinch, but no! Now on the other end! Power denied! Off the crossbar and the post! Clears keeping Rule 1 within striking distance.
Rule 1's force field is staying so firm. Power have only managed to break through it once, and now they counter his Mosan. Ruas in the stands just waiting. It's the straight flip reset. Torsos around the corner, no boost. Shouldn't matter too much. 45 seconds left. Kalias over the top of Fever. Amphis helps him out. Mosan's there! But Kalias, they're so good in goal, they're defending the opposition.
Talk about the wrong place at the wrong time. Clears blocking that shot. It might have been going in. It was a bang-bang play, but now only 30 seconds left. Rule 1 still looking for that first goal.
Fever into the center. It's a little risky. It might backfire. Ruas thought he had a sniff. Not to be. 15 seconds away from Rule 1 needing a reverse sweep. Fever, he's slowing it down more. Amphis fancies a bite of it as well. I'm not sure that was the play, and Rule 1 might counter.
Chance for clears, but Fever up so well. He got his flip as well. Goes for goal. Forces more time off the clock. Torsos will try to hover behind it. Malts into Ruas. Ruas, it gets away from him too much. And it touches the ground, and Power will win it. But even at the end, you can see Ruas had a chance to keep that ball in play and was not able to keep it on his hood.
And now I'm staring so intently at these Power players, and I'm trying to read their body language, and they still look so relaxed. I can't believe it. I thought that at this point they'd be starting to shake, starting to feel a little bit nervy. They have seen their compatriots Ground Zero get reverse swept earlier on by Carmine Corp. Way back, it feels like an age ago yesterday at the start of the day. It has happened to OCE teams. Power have to ensure it doesn't again.
Oh, this is really a potentially historic moment as well for Power to get another fantastic placement, but also to potentially perfect sweep Rule 1. You know, and I mean, I'm just off the top of my head, I can't really imagine. I don't remember the last time we've seen OCE have the ability, and I don't know if they've ever done it, completed a perfect sweep on land.
Well, they haven't made the top 8 since Season 8 Worlds, when there were only 12 teams. So already they're going further than an OCE team has done in the open circuit. It's huge. It's a real turning point, perhaps, in this region's history. But they need that one more game, though. They need that final game.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself.
Exactly.
But, I mean, we have not really seen much from Rule 1 at all. We've seen a few passes. We saw the pinch that hit off the post. There was the one shot that Clears accidentally got in the way of, but there has not been any offense to speak of for Rule 1.
And that's credit to Power as well. I mean, we've talked all about their attack. We've talked about their scrappiness and their fight, but Rule 1 have to break through that. They've had a few dribbles. They've had a few opportunities. Finally, maybe they'll sink one, but who else? It's Torsos. Pushes it out wide. The danger remains on early in Game 3. Elias is up, but it's out wide.
Amphis was ready, looking for that pass. But I think one of the big success stories for Power has been Fever. Fever, so good offensively, but also defensively. There's been some really key plays he's made. There was the one where he caught it right on the sidewall in a really risky situation. And now we see Fever trying to generate a chance in front of net. Fever is playing on fire right now. We'll see if he can keep it up.
He's the back wall demon right now. He's already got the winning goal over on Forbidden Temple with that same trick, the sort of mini double. Going for it again, this time via a flip reset. So near to paying dividends. Rule 1 though. They keep it at 0-0. Fever, they're getting each other's way. Surely Rule 1 are gonna sink one. It is Kalias, their goal scorer.
And finally, the drought is over. Kalias gets one. You can see Fever. I don't know if he was trying to get a flip reset clear to the corner, but you can see it threw the defense off. And Power finally conceives one. Will that be the spark that ignites Rule 1's comeback?
Twisted minds watching on back at home, and Rule 1 here will certainly be hoping so. This series has not gone their way. A goal like that, a mistake from your opponent, can really wake you up.
The
demo, it should be 2, it is 2. Kalias gets his second.
And this is a perfectly timed demo. Torsas recognized it's, I mean, you'd think he would recognize that it's coming. Roas was hot on his tail. But overall, Torsas can't escape the demo. And that's the easiest goal we've seen in the game.
And Rule 1 have just changed their pace slightly, going for these bumps and demos a little bit more, swatting Power away, whereas before, perhaps they were trying to be too perfect. This play might be perfect. Kalias, he gets the extra touch, saved out wide. Power so far on the back foot, though, they're almost falling over.
Amphis trying to march this ball downfield, stopped by Kalias. Torsas off the ceiling, now to the ground, pinch. It's going to kick out to Amphis. Amphis tries to set up the shot, even was arcing around looking for a mid-boost that wasn't there.
Fever is going to keep the attack going up against Ruas. How's the 50-50? It's, of course, clean from Ruas. Into the corner, setting up Kalias onto his hat trick. Maybe is this one sneaking in without the help of Mossan? It doesn't matter. Mossan puts it in.
And this was a well-timed shot here from Mossan. You see he's waiting. He's not trying to rush it. Not trying to get around the ball. Knows that the best chance for that is just pinching it in once it hits the post. And that was a clinical play there, not too difficult. Rule 1, just keeping it simple. But the demos and the bumps are really helping Rule 1 bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, that's Mossan's job in this team as well. He is the player who is there surrounding the Twins to make sure that whatever they do, he can be at the end of and finishing. He's done his role to aplomb there. Hits Torsas though into the corner. Power not out of this game yet.
They're not. I mean, we're not even halfway through. And we see a response. Torsas with a really nice pass, getting that over to Amphis. I mean, you cannot shoot the ball more accurately than that. So Power, they are able to bring the gap down to 2. But still quite the hole to dig themselves out of.
Oh, it almost is another kickoff play. Power have certainly had the kickoff game, which is one thing I certainly didn't expect. There's a mistake from Mossan. Torsas almost gets it in. Who else on the goal line, James? It's Ruas.
Oh, that was something else. And still another chance. Is it in? It is! Amphis picks up his second. In a matter of seconds, Power cuts the lead to 1.
On the stroke of half-time, Rule 1's heart rate just doubles. They would just be starting to relax in this series, and Power steal that away from them. Now, can they steal the game?
Kick off right to Mossan. So round 1, he's going to try to block that back to the middle. It's bouncing nicely back to Roas. Roas, flip reset into a 50. But you can see all 3 members of Power jumping after that ball.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned Garrett and Nanaji earlier. That was the squishy save. They all fancy to go at it. We can do that. Here's Fever, though. He can do this to the ceiling. Gets the pass towards Amphis. Kalias can get it away, though. Can he get the extra touch over Torsas? Not quite this time. And Torsas is following up too. Mossan touch a little bit flaily in the center. Kalias has to clean up. There's a chance for Amphis. He opts for the pass. Fever has a chance.
Wow!
Fever puts it wide.
Oh, and the attack is so aggressive from Power. And that one was within inches. Fever barely missing on that one. Going for a bump now, but Torsas dodges the bump and gets in the way of the shot. This game started out, and it looked like it was going to be a runaway game for Rule 1, but Power really has brought it back.
That's a great pass, though. Here's Kalias, second touch. Anyone following him up? Not this time. Ruas. Another clean touch. Rule 1, every hit they get protection right now. It's just whether Power can close it down. Finally, they get a foot on the ball. Amphis in front of Fever. That's what Amphis loves to do, be that redirect player. And he gets the 1-2 towards him. But it's Rule 1. They've wrestled back control of this one. A despairing dive from a Power player means nothing, but there might be a counter on for Power.
Lots of boost here for Amphis as well. And the backflip's gonna send that ball all the way to the third man, Torsos, keeping it in. Out of boost, however. Fever trying to get in the block, but that's gonna pinch all the way back off the post
again.
It's the same post. How much is Power paying that post?
Whatever it is, it should be more. And the bar and the post again. But it's still gonna sneak in. The post did its best job. It still wasn't enough.
I mean, it definitely was worth the money, however much it cost, but eventually it goes in. You can see Torsos trying to hover and defend that one, but it was too much. Rule 1 putting in an insurance goal, and maybe that'll be enough to get him this win in Game 3.
Rule 1, a horrible team to peg back when they have even a 1-goal lead, let alone a 2-goal lead. And to be credit to Power, they gave it a go for 3 as Ruas goes for something a little bit spicy. Came up just a little bit short, it would seem. Rule 1, almost there. The foothold in the series that they so desire. Kilias can't quite get it on target. Ruas is going to just doink that one home. Rule 1 will take this game.
You can see the double commit, the wall dash. Both players going on that wall for Power. The 50 from the third man goes straight off the ceiling. That is a recipe for disaster. And it was disaster there for Power. Rule 1 with a statement game in Game 3 when their tournament life was at risk.
Rule 1, who came so close against a team BDS who were looking like one of the favorites for this competition. They were pushing them all the way. We're seeing that quality return right now. A real statement against Power, who is seeing the funny side.
Yeah, I mean, it's some smiles right now for Power. They know they have a little bit of runway still. They got those 2 game wins earlier, 2 1-0 wins. Really tight games. Rule 1, though, their offense seems to, they figured out this Power defense. Dropping in 6 this game. This next game going to be quite interesting, Cole, to see if Rule 1 can keep that momentum.
Yeah, I'm intrigued how both teams go in to this next one. Game number 4. And I'm thinking, are Rule 1 going to really try and push on, take a risk, go a couple of goals ahead early? Or do they slow things down, try and keep their control, stick to the original plan? As for Power, you know, it's the same thing. Do they mix things up? Maybe they were too aggressive before, slow things down, or do they stick to their plan A?
I mean, I think if you're Power, you just keep going after them. You know, and there were just a few moments where Power double committed, sent 2 players on the ball. The speed from Rule 1 was there. They just weren't fast enough to beat Rule 1 to that ball. A couple long range opportunities as well for Rule 1. Overall, though, you know, Power did bring that game back for a brief moment. You saw they brought it back within 1, but then the floodgates kind of opened for Rule 1 at the end.
And I love that Rule 1 have that capability to open up those floodgates. It was seeming like they were just missing that final spark for large parts of the first couple of games. That spark is there now. The embers are burning. The flame is growing. Masibo can't wear jackets when playing Rocket League. It makes him
What?
feel.
It makes him feel.
It's good to feel. Can I just point out?
Embrace the feel.
Emotions.
If you're Fever.
Apparently it makes him feel happy? I've just
Heavy,
been told in my
heavy.
ear. Oh, heavy, heavy, okay. It makes him feel heavy, right, okay, brilliant. It makes him feel heavy to wear jackets. Anyway, what a series this is.
It is, and Fever has looked anything but heavy. In those first 2 games, it was all Fever. Fever was my MVP just from the eye test. But Power, they still have 1 game left to win before they claim victory in the series.
Here we go as well. Rule 1 busting out the fake kickoff. They might score from it as well. Amphis. He had to get up there. Mossen. With Torsos charging him down. Torsos rotates out. There's a lot of boost, and there's a demo in, but Kilias had got back.
That was the right idea. The demos were working nicely for Power earlier in the series. We'll see if Rule 1 start to dodge them a little bit more like they did last game. Now, potential ground pinch, but it got away from Mossen. Now Kilias get beat by Fever. Torsos launching it upfield. Ruas with the corner boost on the ball. Gets the pass out to Kilias, who's up, but Kilias taking a little bit too much time getting to that ball, gives it up. Mossen on the collection. Will go for the flick, but that's cleared out to the corner.
Amphis will try and keep it going, though. Power have survived an early push from Rule 1. Can they do even more than that? Torsos coming in. Fever. He's going to just pinch of his teammate. That's smart play. Even if they won't get the next ball, they'll at least slow the game down. Moston had no momentum to play with, but still did an incredible amount of damage. Venom does it all with that touch.
Well, it's a race to the ball. There's a demo, but it's a miss from Torsos. Torsos couldn't get around the ball. Couldn't pick up the speed necessary. Fever back down. The pinch off to the side, a double commit. There's the leave, and it bounces wide anyway. Rawaz and Rule 1 have been demoing so much more, and it has been messing with Power's attack.
You can smell the tension in the air, the scrappiness that we talked about in Power versus Ground Zero earlier. They've managed to make Rule 1 look just as scrappy. Ruas loses the ball to Torsos. Boston to the skies again. He loves doing this, taking this touch, slowing it down. Ruas comes in. Does he get the double? He almost does. It falls to Kalias. He can't put it away either. More desperate Power defending so far in this game is paying off.
And you can see Amphis had to go all the way back to Rule 1's corner to get the boost before he rotated back in on defense. Now a chance for Amphis. It's a bump on Kaliers, but Kaliers still gets the clear downfield. Double tap on the sidewall from Rawaz, but now cleared back down the sideline. Mawson sends it back in. Amphis will go for a second attempt in the air. Just going to stay behind it for the pinch out to the Rule 1 corner. Now hit back downfield. Fever trying to stop it at the midfield.
Rule 1 looking like the faster team at the moment. Looking like the more sophisticated squad as well, but Power can change that with one pass, and they do!
Oh, and Amphis getting Power the lead. And there's the pass right out to the middle. Mawson knows what's coming, knows he needs to get there first, but the passing has been on point for Power.
Rule 1, you can see the communication, talking to each other. A real discussion going on. How do we turn this one around? How do we get back into it? They scored 6 in the last game. How they'd love one right now. Kalias might have just unlocked the door with the demo. Torsos can't quite get there. Mawson, he pushed it wide.
These posts are on Power payroll. Rule 1 continues to hit it over and over. It's another demo though. Kaliers taking out Amphis, so no one there to receive that pass. Kaliers around 1. It's an isolation play. Kaliers, he goes for the power flick, and he just powers through.
It was just pure aggression from Kalias. Nothing was gonna stop him. Fennec to Fennec, mano a mano. And it was the Rule 1 player that won out.
And that is a big time play from Kaliers with their tournament at risk, being able to make that goal happen in the one-on-one.
Rule 1 so keen to prove that top 12 is not the region's limit. Fever, what a save from him. Is the counter-attack on? Kalias to the side. Here comes Amphis. Fever, I thought he'd go to the backboard. Instead, he cuts in, looking for bumps, looking for demos. None to be found, so he scuttles back. Kalias in the air. He fakes out Torsos. He gets it into the corner almost, but Fever pushes it wide.
Well done by Fever to pinch that out wide, but now we see Kaliers with boost in space. That touch got too far away from him. Wasn't able to keep it going, but it still puts Rule 1 on attack. And there's a team bump in the air. You can see that Kaliers wanted to take that ball over, but ended up bumping his own teammate.
It's getting a little bit rushy, Rule 1. They can sense that a win's ahead of them. They have to keep their composure, not do anything silly. Where's the defense gone? Amphis is floating in the air. Amphis, thankfully for Power, can just charge through. This will be a clean ball for Rule 1. But at least for Power, they've got it all the way back. What can Rule 1 do? On the opposite side, Rawaz into the center. He has Kalias clearing a path in front of him. He puts it in almost to that top corner. And now Fever, it's his chance. He gets one flip reset. He gets the dunk. Amphis is up. He goes to the backboard. Rawaz pushes wide.
Massive stop there from Rawaz, getting back in time to clear it out. This is when the going gets tough. Rawaz goes for goal. He was behind enemy lines, and he pops out of the trenches to take Power down.
Reflex and improvisation is what led to that goal. Rawaz just gambled on there being a miss in the Power defense. And now for the first time, we are going to see Power racing and scrapping to get a goal back themselves. It's another fake kickoff.
Will it work? Possession here, Fever going for it. You can see the pre-jump from Amphis, leaving Torsos back alone.
Torsos up against Kalias. Time running out rapidly. Amphis has Fever to his right, wants to get it to him. Kalias misses. Fever puts it onto the backboard. We have to have a good read here from Rule 1. So close to Game 5. Champions Field is on our horizon. as Kalias booms it as far as he possibly can. Fever returns the favor. Kalias gets in there. Amphis maybe with one more chance, but Ruas is going to charge him down too quickly. Amphis with not much boost, surely can't do anything here. And the reverse sweep is upon us.
Rule 1, hanging on by a thread. And we saw Ruas really make the impact play at the end there. He moves upfield and cuts in to take that shot, recognizes that brief window. I mean, and look at the amount of saves as well. Fever threw up 763 points that game. He had 8 saves.
8 saves.
8. And there wasn't even overtime in that game.
Almost as many saves as the number in Ruas's name. That's a pretty big number, and it shows how against the ropes Power were for large parts of that. And still, they only lost by 1 goal. That's the biggest positive they can take.
I mean, this game was taken over by the Twins. You saw the isolation play by Kalias. It wasn't the prettiest 1v1, but it was effective. And then that play there, as we saw on the Mobile One high-performance replay, Ruas cutting back, hopping out of the trenches there, recognizing that opportunity and making the most of it. That was perhaps the turning point here for Rule 1 to be able to secure that go-ahead goal late, but also the Twins overall, they scored both goals there for Rule 1. Will they be able to step up in the deciding game, Game 5 on Champions Field?
Power may well have got into this series thinking the pressure was over. They'd already done the hard part of their day and guaranteed Worlds, but now they are here, James, in Game 5 against Rule 1, and suddenly all that tension rises back up. Who's going to take it?
And we saw another interesting kickoff strategy there for Power. It does result in a demo and possession. Amphis going for the net. Ruas saves it out. Amphis didn't get as much power as he was hoping for. Torsos is going to try to get back to this ball. Has to waste all that boost. It does find its way over to Fever.
Oh.
Fever with the pinch. But the pinch did not have enough power on it.
You gotta love it when a pinch goes goalwards, but you also love it when the ceiling play almost comes off. Who's arriving? It's Kalias.
Wow.
The striker of the side has to sink that. He gets another chance via Mossen, and Mossen doesn't make the mistake.
I mean, it even threw the observer off. Everyone thought that was going to be a goal. But thank goodness for Ruas, and Mossen is going to be able to pound that shot into the near post. But a great play from Ruas to get that pass over, being a facilitator. And Rule 1, they should have had that. I mean, they at least should have had a shot on net there, but they recover anyway. And we'll take this early lead. Rule 1 has figured out Power so far. What can Power do now?
They've figured out Power. They've figured out their own region coming up against Falcons. It's taken them an infinite amount of time to be here, the representative of their region. And now they're here once more, showing their nerve, showing how they can learn from game to game, play to play, series to series. Power, though, they remain alive. On the ball now, Fever into the center. Kalias is what he wanted, but his pass wasn't quite perfect for Ruas.
That was a nice clear there for Power. That will put this ball deep in Rule 1's corner, but you can see the demo from behind. The success for Rule 1 really did coincide when they started to demo much more, especially at the midfield, taking Power out from behind.
Fever, he delays his dodge and gets it high, but Mossen, he's been filling in the blanks for the last couple of games. He sets up Kalias. Rule 1 go 2 up.
And Kalias does not mess up that opportunity. A blistering shot in the upper 90. Amphis, if that shot was less perfect, Amphis would have been there to block it.
Now we have a brand new paradigm in this series where Rule 1 are the ones that have to hang on. But they're a controlling team. They love being ahead. Power are going to chase. They're going to scrap for everything. Ruas into the center. Kalias takes him over. Suddenly Rule 1 looking as clean as anything. Kalias over the top. Mossen's almost in there. Power have to survive for, you expect the next 30 seconds or so, or this one could be over by halftime.
Power going into Game 3. Well, hold on, that one just time. But going into Game 3, Power had the possibility of getting a perfect sweep, but now we're seeing a different sweep altogether. Rule 1 ahead 3-0, about to complete the reverse sweep.
There was a demo that came in, there was an overextension in defense, and suddenly Ruas was completely and utterly free. Rule 1, 3 goals up, and surely there's no more dramas to be had here, especially as the kickoff is so effective for Rule 1. Mawson pushes it forward, and Rule 1 cementing their status as Mina's best.
And you can see it didn't look like Fever even jumped for that ball. We've been seeing Power try to mix up the kickoffs. That time, the play blew up in their face.
It's been such a long journey for Rule 1. As I said, they've been watching Falcons this whole time. Top 12s coming through again and again for Mina representatives. Now so close to top 8 for Rule 1. They just have to hold their nerve one more time. You'd expect that 4 goals is enough, but we saw it from FaZe against Optic. They lost the overtime, but they too were 4 goals down. These comebacks have happened.
They have, but they are so rare, especially on the international stage. Power, their time is running low, just over 2 minutes to get 4, and their offense has stagnated. That time, though, they do make the play happen. Power showing some life off of this pass from Fever.
Suddenly their odds go way up. 3 goals in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Doesn't sound quite as impossible as 4 in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It can be done. Power. You have to step up taller than you ever have before. A team that comes from a region that constantly has 3 teams battling it out. Right now, all that's in their sights is one of them.
like
There's
that.
a fake towards Amphis.
Oh.
Can't quite connect. That could have been huge.
That was such a smart play to leave that ball.
That was the respawn. It's not. It's 5-1.
And the idea was there. Power are really leaving it all out there on the field. It was a smart play to leave that ball, move upfield for the pass, but the pass was too far away, and it ended up being an overextension by Power, leaving the net vulnerable. Rule 1 exploiting that, and now they are up 5-1. In a few of these games, Rule 1 has just run up the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's amazing. Since they've got going, Rule 1 showing how good they can be. Kalias with the pre-jump, tees up Ruas. The twin brothers connecting and combining. That belief, that understanding that they have between each other, literally from birth. And you're seeing it now at the highest level of Rocket League esports competition. Ruas into the center. Torsov's going to try and do something with this one. It's going to have to be amazing. It's to the backboard. He gets something going, maybe. His Fever backflips it just wide.
I mean, you can even see the smile on Fever's face. You're not really expecting anyone to go for the backflip shot there. I think maybe would have had a better chance just having a good old-fashioned shot using the front of his car, but it is a situation where Power is so far behind that I think even they know what's coming.
This is absolutely huge from Rule 1, though, to show when you're at a major that you're capable of reverse sweep still. You know, I mean, they came into this event off a 4-0 in the semi-finals, or the upper finals, should I say, against Falcons. A real changing of the guard is occurring, and based off this performance, you can see why.
Oh, no doubt about it. Clears putting in another one. We're almost to the legendary 7-1 scoreline. We'll see if Rule 1 can put that in, but Rule 1 did not score in the first 2 games. They were just saving them up.
I mean, Power do play in yellow, so it might be apt if they are to be Brazil, but Amphis can ensure that doesn't happen here. Ruas, though, the recoveries. There's the 1v1 strat. You think you're past him, you think you're through, and then suddenly he's there next to you, getting a demo, stealing your boost. Then he's on the counter. Ruas, does he get the flip reset? Does he get his teammate to help him out of a bump? It's a bit of either of them. It doesn't matter too much now, though. This is just free fun time for Rule 1. They are the team that have done the hard work. They will be victorious.
Oh, no doubt about that. And Rule 1 really showing, you know, that they can bounce back. In that situation where they were at risk of being perfect swept, how do they respond? You really look to that as a key moment of experience now for this Rule 1 team as they continue on in their journey here in Boston.
It might be one more goal. It is one more goal. Takeover complete. Meet your new Mina rulers. The region is under new ownership.
It's under new ownership, and they definitely own Power in this Game 5. Power, they had a strong start. They got their win against Ground Zero to go to Worlds, but their journey ends here. Rule 1, take down Power.
An amazing, incredible, brilliant, genius turnaround right there from Rule 1. It looked down and out. No goals in the first couple of games. They seemed completely oblivious to how to deal with this Power team. But once they got that control, James, they showed how difficult it is to wrestle it off them.
Oh, I mean, they're a speedy team, and the raw ability from Kalirs and Rawas and Moss, and you could see it out there. Rawas having that really big impact goal from behind enemy lines, getting it, but you can see Torsas. That is a disappointing feeling for them. Torsas expecting more from his team. They got so close. Within one game of making it in front of a crowd, Power having a fantastic run, and they certainly deserve a spot at the World Championship where we will see Power. But now for Rule 1, they already were going to the World Championship, but now Tainted Minds has their hopes up. Maybe one more spot can be gained for the MENA region.
Yeah, they'll have to hope that momentum can be continued. There is more to come from this Rule 1 team. I mean, constantly we see proof that this region deserves so much more. We want to see as many of them in the World Championships at majors as we possibly can. Quality play from them all.
It was quality play from them all, and especially early on in those first two games, I really did think Fever was brilliant. He was making the plays happen, got Power some really critical wins, and put them in the driver's seat to where they could have won that series. So that was a well-played game from Power, but it was too much from Rule 1. And to talk about it, we've got Mo down on the main stage.
Back from the dead, basically. Rule 1 maintaining their seat in the majors in the heat of the competition against Power. And joining us, Crispers, the coach for Rule 1. An amazing show that played out, but it was definitely stressful. How do you feel from the beginning of the match until the end? I saw you smiling. كيف كانت المنافسة بالنسبة لكم من بداية الجولة لنهايتها؟ آخر الجولة شفتك فعليا تضحك قبلها، كان كتير وضع ضغط. كيف إحساسك؟
طبعا الحمد لله اول شيء ان قدرنا نفوز. شعورنا صراحه من قبل المباراه احنا كنا زي ما تقول واثقين ان راح نفوز، لان قد لعبنا مع الفريق هذا كذا مره وكلنا قدرنا ننتصر فيها او كلها. بس صراحه المباراه هذه مره اعصاب. اتوقع من طريقه كلامي اصلا واضح اني متوتر مره، بس الحمد لله يعني.
Thanks God we made it to the win this match. It was a stressful match obviously, and it's obviously by him talking nervously. They played at scrims with Power. They were confident about their win, but it was definitely a hard one on the stage. Comes up the question, how did you guys turn it around? Like, what was the lifeline for you guys to win this match? شو اللي تغير بالنسبة لكم لحتى فزتوا في هاي الجولة؟ شو كانت نقطة التحول بالنسبة للفريق؟
صراحة بدينا المباراة ما كنا نلعب بلعبنا ومستوانا، بس الحمد لله يعني بعد تقريبا الجيم الثاني تكلمت مع الشباب، حاولت اقول لهم انه يعني وش اللي قاعد تحسون مثلا ناقص عندكم او وش اللي تحسونه، لان انا قلت لهم الاشياء اللي انا احسها، بس بما انه هو قاعد يلعب فهو يمكن يحس باشياء او ممكن عنده اشياء في باله ما كنا نعرفها، فتكلمنا. وخصوصا بعد اتوقع الجيم الاول اللي فزنا فيه احنا كانت نتيجة كبيرة، فقعدنا نتكلم، وعفوا الجيم الثاني قعدنا نتكلم حتى بالوقت هذا حاولنا نستغله كأنه تايم اوت بالنسبه لنا احنا، قعدنا نتكلم ونحاول نعدل الغلط، ودخلنا اخر جيم بحماس وبمعنويات عاليه وقدرنا ننتصر الحمد لله.
After the first match, they basically had a mind reset, pointing out their mistakes, talking a little bit about what went wrong with the match one. Therefore, they were able to come back to the game and perform. From yesterday till this match, what was the preparation for today? How did you guys prepare to go up against Power? Were there like a specific kind of preparation for Power, or it was a general mindset kind of thing? حضرتوا انتم في شيء من يوم امس لحد الجوله هي؟ في شيء كان مميز لتحضيراتكم ولا كانت نقاط عامه؟
صراحه ان نعطي كل مباراه حقها، وكل مباراه نتجهز لها قد ما نقدر، ونحاول ان نتفرج اقيام الخصم. يعني جينا اليوم بدري قاعدين نتفرج اقيامهم، مباراتهم ضد جراوند زيرو، حاولنا نشوف نقاط ضعفهم وحاولنا نستغلها. وبالنسبه لاستعداداتنا احنا دائما نحاول نستعد لكل مباراه ضد اي فريق ضد اي ريجن باتم الاستعداد وما نستهين في احد.
They prepare for every match by itself. They looked up for Power's previous matches, looked up for weak points, and they prepared for it in a right way. They respect every opponent they go up against, and this is how they are guided to win. Thanks a lot for being with us. Thanks a lot for your time, and good luck for tomorrow with the audience in the major in Boston. Back to the desk.